Hello and welcome to Cup of Joe. I'm Joseph. This past week has been a bit of a doozy. I kind of got mauled by a cold. So that wasn't fun. Kind of hard to go from doing a whole bunch to sleeping through half the day. That doesn't really help with things. So because of that, one of the videos did not end up last week. That was the tip video. But actually, I realized, so what I was going to do, I was going to do a video showing you an alternative to the bloom when you're brewing. This is a process that I use with pour-over methods. And I did a little video on this on my Instagram story, which, by the way, follow me on Instagram, Coffee Lovers Mag, and check out my stories. I sometimes do tips in there. And I started trying to do this daily coffee facts, just little fun facts, and I actually record those in Snapchat, so you can find me on Snapchat as well, Coffee Lovers Mag. Coffee Lovers Mag everywhere. I just make it easy. And Snapchat is all me, as is pretty much Instagram is all me. On Facebook, I'm getting totally sidetracked right now, but since we're on the subject of social media, Facebook and Twitter is when you see Coffee Lovers Mag commenting, that's almost always me. Most of the stuff that gets shared, so I have a friend named Mark, he does finds like really good interesting stories and stuff to share with coffee, so he posts a lot on the Facebook and Twitter, but then I go and chat with people and respond and that sort of thing, and I also share stuff too. Anyways, that was a total sidebar. Back to the video. So I did this little tip thing on the alternative to the bloom. It's not, I mean, it's so, and my hesitation here is where I came to the realization I need to do another video first demonstrating the bloom, so I have context for this alternative. I'm taking a step back, and this week I'm actually have two tip vids. I'm just gonna show the bloom and the pour over, so you can have an understanding of what that is and what it's doing and why. As Jesse likes to say, there's a lot of superstition around brewing coffee, and there's different ways you can do things. But there are also good reasons for this stuff too. So one of them's the bloom. The other one is why I'm going to visually show you why you should use a scale when you're brewing coffee. That's going to be, it's going to be simple, but it's going to be kind of cool. I'll just show you. I've got a number of different coffees, and they're all different sizes. And basically, you're going to see that a tablespoon of one coffee is completely different from a tablespoon of another. And it should be pretty straightforward to see why using scoops and volume gives you an inconsistent brewing process. Anyway, so tip vids coming this week. The very first of the coffee showcases, shall we call them, the Campos Coffee video has been received well. Talking with a few people about that. That's fun. I like showing the story, and I'm going to do more of that. I noticed, so when I recorded that video, it ended up being like 45 minutes of video I had to edit. I got done, and I uploaded the video, and I saw all the files, and I was like, did I talk for that long? But it's really easy to talk for a long time about coffee. And I discovered as I was going through that I kept running into things that, oh, I should explain what that is. Oh, I should explain what that is. Like the coffee processing. I talked about washed and natural. And what would be ideal is if when I come to that and I say, so this coffee is a washed coffee, and that means that the flavors are going to be a little more delicate and harder to find, but there will be more of them. This is how I look at washed. If you'd like to learn more about washed and natural, go watch this video. That's what I want it to be like. There isn't a video here. That video doesn't exist yet. But I think what I'm saying is I think what I want to do with those videos is instead of taking moments within showing the story of this coffee to do side explanations, I should figure out which of those would make better videos on their own, and then try not to have videos that are too long. I don't know if like that first one was 28 minutes, I think. I'm not sure if that's the right length. It felt good. I thought it was good. I did have a little extra stuff in there. And there are some things I think I'd have liked to have talked a little bit more about, like maybe a little bit more about Kenyan coffees. The video that I'm going to do for this week, I'm actually actually drinking the coffee right now, and I was hoping to do this last week, but cold, and I'm going to sidebar again here, one of the problems, which I didn't think I would ever actually run into, I can't really do videos talking about coffee while I have a cold. Because even though I'm mostly over it now, I smell this and I go, that smells sweet. And that's all I can taste. I can't. It's actually a little better now. I'm like rapidly getting over this, but I can't give you a full explanation of this coffee right now just because this won't let me. Well, that's fun. So, oh, that's good. But the coffee. So the Campos coffee was a Kenyan from the Nyeri region, and Conduit has a coffee from the Nyeri region, and they're similar and different. And I'm excited. Yeah, I think it would have been ideal, of course, to maybe do them side by side, but that's maybe we'll get to more of those videos later. I think just doing another video, I can talk about the details and everything of the Campos. I can explain what that was like, and I can compare it to this one as I'm having it, because this one is very different. But I think it may actually be the same coffee. Like it may be the same green coffee. I need to figure out a little more detail about that. It's certainly from the same region. And I think one of the things that fascinates me is when roasters get the same coffee and then they show you something completely different from those coffees. So that's a lot of fun. Anyway, so we have that to look forward to this week. I mentioned last week a little bit of a problem with iOS 10. If I publish a new issue, it'll cause your app to crash, apparently. I'm not willing to make everyone's app crash repeatedly, but I have the fix submitted to Apple, so we're just waiting for them to approve it. The joys of technology. This past weekend, I had the pleasure of recording and photographing the East African coffee ceremony, or most commonly known as Ethiopian coffee ceremony. It encompasses a number of cultures, and that was a big joy. They're going to be in not this next issue, which is coming out very shortly, but the one afterwards, which will follow fairly quickly. I mean, we're putting it together right now. That issue is going to be all about coffee rituals, and it's going to feature the coffee ceremony. That's looking forward to that. Coffee ceremony is quite a unique experience and really awesome. Yeah. The Coffee Lovers Radio published. I again had a problem with SoundCloud, so it looks like I'm going to have to move away from using SoundCloud. That's unfortunate. They've been convenient, but when I publish a show and then it doesn't go to the iTunes feed, or it just doesn't process. Like this one got stuck in processing, so it just never became available. I had to fix it right before recording this today. It's Monday. So when that happens, there's obviously a problem. I need to move to like self-hosting. I think that'll be better in the long run anyways. Then I can have the radio fully on the website and not have it on its separate page, which I think is maybe a little confusing. I think it'd be easier if it was all in one place. But that shows out. Jesse Neal and I talked about iced coffee, which it's, you know, it's fall. Essentially, it's fall. Well, I guess we're getting into fall, whatever seasons. Point is, it's like pumpkin spice latte season, right? And cold brew went through a huge surge this summer, but you know, now it's, you know, we're getting into fall. It's going to be winter. Iced coffee usually does this, but here's the thing: I still love a good iced coffee because it gives me I mean, we talked about this in the show. I don't need to go into this in huge detail. It gives me a unique view on a coffee. But even if I'm not just drinking that as my coffee, like cold brew and iced coffee in general, really good for making cocktails. So think about your holiday parties and with cooking. If you're ever going to do a recipe with coffee in it and it tells you to use instant coffee, use cold brew instead. It'll be so much better. So much better. So you can still use cold brew and iced coffee throughout all the seasons. There's a lot to be gotten out of that. Cool. Well, that's, I think, all I have for today. I don't know if this is my third or fourth cup of coffee. My brain is starting to say it's done. So keep an eye out for videos coming out this week, and check out for the new issue coming out really soon, and also check out Coffee Lovers Radio. I feel like I should come up with like a question or something. I'll have to think about that. Maybe I'll make a list of questions. But anyways, I'd love it if you'd like the video if you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. That'd be really cool. Thank you so much for listening.